There's no doubt about it. Sometimes you go back to an old game you used to love, start playing, and realize that maybe this wasn't as good as you thought it was. Nostalgia is a powerful thing. As it happens, however, 2002's Resident Evil remake holds up really well, and Resident Evil HD is here to prove it. In fact, this HD remaster of a remake of a horror classic does a great job of looking like you remember it looking. The reason that's important is because the way you remember it is almost always better than the way it really looked. New textures, new lighting, and other nifty tweaks don't make Resident Evil HD look like a modern game exactly, but it does look like an older game through modern eyes. The gameplay tweaks are less substantial. The most significant addition is a control scheme that lets you use the analog stick to move in the direction you're pushing. Otherwise, Resident Evil HD reveals the same mystery and requires you to solve the same puzzles as the 2002 version. You play as either Jill Valentine or Chris Redfield, who are members of a special ops force called STARS. You spend most of the time exploring a mansion in which you become trapped while investigating the disappearances of other STARS members, though it's soon clear that the fate you should most worry about is your own. Even purely within a modern context, this is an engrossing adventure that benefits from tense exploration and clever environmental puzzles. People often talk about the scary bits, but Resident Evil's finest asset is how it invigorates exploration. Behind every door are glimpses at a mansion's history, hints of experiments gone wrong, and bizarre contraptions that border on the occult. Solving environmental puzzles means gaining access to creepier areas and learning more about the mansion setting you're trapped within. Don't get me wrong though, the frights remain. These kinds of horror story jump scares are a matter of routine in modern games and cinema, but you'll probably still jump when those zombie dogs crash through the glass. The fear is enhanced by how helpless you are when an enemy lands an attack. The dogs get all the attention, but it's the sharks swimming around an aquatic arena that always most terrified me, and man, entering the aquatic circle still gets me tense. You don't freely control the camera during your endeavors. Every viewing angle enhances the claustrophobia while allowing Capcom to carefully place props and lights for maximum effect. Some of the most dangerous places are also given the most limited screen space, which in turn intensifies that fight or flight instinct. Resident Evil was created with a clear eye for shot composition, which makes exploration all the more tense. The fixed camera can be a source of frustration, however. It can be annoying, for instance, to have the camera change angle every few seconds, because it means having to quickly adjust to how that changes character movement. That's the Resident Evil conundrum. Mechanics that keep you nervous and cautious can also bog things down. There's that limited inventory, for instance. It makes you carefully consider what objects to keep with you, but it also leads to ridiculous shuffling like going to your stash, putting in a puzzle object, taking out an ink ribbon, going to the typewriter, saving your game, going back to your stash, putting the ribbon back, and putting the thing back into your inventory. That kind of stuff doesn't enhance the atmosphere so much as it feels like it wastes time. All the same, there's a beautiful simplicity to Resident Evil HD. It's a reminder that the best mysteries don't need convoluted stories to be enthralling. Later Resident Evil games would add more viruses and unnecessary subplots, but the original allows that menacing mansion to do most of the talking. In this series, less is more. There's backstory to uncover, but the focus is on the here and now. It is you, the mansion, and your imagination. As it happens, that trio makes for a fine adventure, without the need for more gameplay styles, more outbreaks, and more guns.